Hello and welcome. My name is Brianne Mass, and I am your host to Words Are Human, the podcast, an extension off my program, Words Are Human. I believe that the vocabulary we use in our everyday lives has the power to completely alter our state of reality. By showcasing the power behind words, I transform lives by seeking deeper truth behind life as we know it. Without further ado, let's get into today's episode. Hello, welcome back to another episode of Words Are Human. Okay, you guys, I need to take a second to breathe and relax and calm my nerves because guess who is on today? Well, I'll give you a second to just ponder through the ideas that you have floating through your head. Kohdi Rain, the one and only, the truest, the bestest. I love you.
Good. I didn't know we're getting moving like that. I love you. You talking?
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, I can't not. Like, I'm just so excited for it. Okay. So for those of you who do not know, Kohdi is the reason you are listening to my voice right now. He's the reason. I would not be here doing this podcast. Okay, well, I'll say this. If you've been listening for a little bit, you know that I am so in love with Kohdi. He is my other half. We are just like, we're doing this whole thing together. So he is the one that really inspired and encouraged me to be more of myself and to take on a journey that I've always wanted to, but never thought I could. And that would be the journey of creating my own business, of course, with the help of him, with more than just help, but like I said, encouragement, love, complete support. And not even to mention this podcast. So he's the reason for all of it. He's also the creator of the most powerful sobriety program in the entire world, which is Beyond Sober. And you just reconstructed it as well, Beyond Sober 2.0. So I'm going to hand this over to you because honestly, I could just talk about you forever. And I actually always do every single day. Before you say anything, I have to say this.
Yes.
Okay. So I was on live TikTok the other day. He comes on, he goes, he does his thing. And I'm like, oh my God, Kohdi. We're on the phone after. He goes, usually you just, brush me off. He goes, I never see you actually talk about me. I'm like, babe, if you only knew, like I talk about you all day, every day, because I'm just such a fan.
Well, I just kind of you gave me. I was privileged to see how you speak about me when I'm not around. I know you do. My ears are ringing all the time. My heart is constantly pumping out of my chest. Somebody's talking about me in rooms I haven't been in somewhere, and I'm not just talking about the universe. I'm not just talking about business. It's your fault. It's always you why I feel the way I do. And a majority of that is knowing that you're taking care of you, and I am at the forefront of your thoughts and a powerful staple in your drive. You're just as big as a support system, a mentor, an inspiration, and a best friend and lover as I am to you. And it's an equal exchange of efforts and thoughts and energy. And the coolest part about it all is we're forced via distance, at least at this moment, to keep each other so close to us because of the physical gap in our availability. Because you're in Canada and I'm in the US at this moment, and the gap is closing. And I just want to say thank you so much for speaking of me and thinking of me in the ways that you do. My peace, and so much of it, is in the knowing that you are taking care of you, and I don't have to worry about you. And this is why it's so easy to love you, and so easy to encourage you, and so easy to support you, and so easy to show up for you. It's because I know you want me to take care of me too. And the better that I take care of myself, the more I can be there for you when you just got to be human. I just want to be human. I don't want to do this whole thing. I don't want to think. I don't want to find a spiritual alignment and all this stuff. I just want to be a girl today. Girl, step into your feminine. You do you. It's just a pleasure knowing you as a human being, and an absolute dream to even be considered in your space.
Oh my God. Thank you. I love you. That's amazing. Babe, as you're saying that, I was having flashbacks to the beginning of you and I. Okay, so we have to talk about how you and I started. Okay, we've got to talk about this because we've got listeners here that are dying to know the story. We have been being like begged for a story time. So shall we dive into our story?
Yeah.
Question mark. Yeah.
Who crushed on? We'll never know who crushed on who first. I just know. I'll say this, you got my attention first because I did something about it. I don't even think you knew that I existed until I duetted you on TikTok.
Yeah, that's 100% true.
I saw you first.
You did. Yeah. You did.
Oh
Yeah,
God.
you did. But okay, so here's how my side of things, how things sort of happened between you and I. I talk about this a lot too on this podcast, but I was in a course called Magnetic. It's a phenomenal course. And I was really inspired through that course to really like go into basically making it public, making my healing journey public, making all of the lessons that I learned public, like vulnerable, not vulnerable, funny, not funny, like really in-depth, triggers, not triggers, like all of it. I've just felt so inspired to just like make it public and to put it out there. And that's not something that I ever considered or even thought of doing before, like ever. And in this process, I started to just feel so exactly like the word of the course. I started to feel magnetic. And of course, we're doing our affirmations, we're doing the meditations. And I really was calling in and really like cultivating my dream life. And it's important to remember that this is also in the pits of the worst time of my life. Just whenever people say, I have to say this, kind of side note, but I have to say this, whenever people say, you know, I'm at rock bottom, from my experience and speaking as to like those people who I've helped as well, rock bottom is like the perfect place because you're done. You are just done with the bullshit. You're done with your shit. You're done with all of it. You're letting it go. It's basically just a release. It's like another way of saying it would, I don't want to say surrender, but it's just like you're just giving it up. And you're opening up to like this blank canvas where you can just start fresh, start new. And I honestly, you can do that at any point, but truly when you're at rock bottom, like your soul, mind, spirit, body is just done, right? And so starting new and starting fresh, that's the point that I was at when I was really in this course, when I was cultivating, when I was doing these meditations, and going back to what I was saying, making it all public. And so that's what I was doing on TikTok. And I had never wanted to be on TikTok before. I was like, oh, it's just another app that's like going to steal all my attention. And I didn't want to do that. But, you know, massive inspired action, that didn't really matter to me because what mattered more was helping people, getting myself out there, you know, putting healing into the public eye to not only normalize that, but let that be okay for other people too. It's like a permission slip, not only for myself and healing and therapeutic for me, but it's also very therapeutic to put it online. Anyway, that's kind of on a sidebar. But I did this one video, getting back on track. I did this one video. I literally remember exactly what I said too. And I'm going to quote it. Okay. Look around the room. This is the video, okay, that I'm quoting. Look around the room, find the color blue, okay? Kohdi, you got it, that's right. Yeah. Now look around the room, find the color black. You got black everywhere. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Okay, great. Now, oh shoot, am I forgetting it? No. Oh yeah, this is what I was gonna say. So let's relate these to your beliefs, okay? So if you believe, like your subconscious there just found the evidence that those colors exist, right? Because you know those colors exist. So you're going to find it when you look for it, right? So relating that to your beliefs, if you believe, or, you know, if you're telling yourself these limiting beliefs, like I'm not smart enough, I'm not enough. If you believe that, your subconscious, you're going to go find that evidence and bring it back because like you know in your mind, if you believe that, then that's true. You're going to find the evidence that that's true. But if you do the affirmations and if you do the healing journey, and if you're on this journey, which if you're listening to this podcast, you're on that journey. If you do all of the work, you'll also find the evidence that your new truths will then become hardwired into your brain. So then recreating your beliefs. Anyway, this was the video that I had put out there. Yeah. And Kohdi duetted it. And I was so excited about it. I'm like, oh my God, this guy, like at the time you had like 290 something like thousand followers. Now
Yeah.
you have like a lot more, right? But at the time I was so excited because I had not seen you. I had not, and I'm like, oh, this guy has a lot of followers. He duetted me. And I was kind of like really excited about that. And then I started watching it. I started coming in on your lives and I'm like, this guy is like fine. Like this guy is so hot. Like, oh my God. I started crushing hard. And then, a little time passed by. I was going live every day, very active. He jumped in, came off on my TikToks and stuff on my lives. Every time he came in, my heart would like drop because I'm like, oh my God, it's my TikTok crush. Like, oh my God, I'm freaking out right now. Low key, I'm freaking out, but I'm not going to show it. And I always felt like I had to impress you in some way. So every time I saw you, I'm like, okay, I got to like say some knowledge here, which is funny. Anyway, jumping forward, I said I thought in my mind, I'm like, I really got to like message him or something. Like I have to try. I've got to see if there's anything here. I've got to see if he even notices me. I messaged you on TikTok or no, on Instagram, and take it away. You go for it.
Well, I was just chilling. I had already moved to Arizona at that point. I had gotten out of a 5-year relationship. I'm riding solo. I'm taking care of me, doing my thing. And then lo and behold, in my inbox is my TikTok crush. That just says, Kohdi. Just I'm like, what? She's yelling at me. I love this. And I had messaged you and I was like, what are the chances or something that my TikTok crush would be messaging me or something like that? And I in retrospect, it feels like you believe that I was calling like I was well aware that I was your TikTok crush with like my TikTok crush. And in the actuality is I'm sitting here going like this girl that I have like a mad crush on. There's only one woman on TikTok that I had a crush on, and it was you. You had there, keep in mind, I got to bring this to like full awareness. It was how you were presenting yourself with the information that you said on TikTok. It wasn't necessarily the lesson. It was how deeply connected with that message you were and how powerful that message is. And I was like, damn, this girl, she's bringing extreme value. Valuable people that recognize their own self-worth continue to bring value to others, and that's a reflection of the value that they see in themselves. That's sexy. That's so sexy. And it's always been sexy. It will always be sexy. And once again, that's the whole reason why I can live the life that I do, even at a great distance, is because I know the value you see in yourself and how you take care of you. And that's reflected in the very first video I ever saw of you into the first podcast that we're recording together right now, which is so incredibly powerful. With all of that in the absolute, that was the first time that my heart dropped in a long time, because I was crushing on you. I would pop in like, here's a rose, here's a heart, here's whatever, here's a TikTok thing, whatever, just to kind of like get a reaction, just to like pop in and like just be like, I see you. I just maybe it is, maybe it is. I don't know. But then again, I didn't want to like, I didn't want to stalk you, if that's a thing. I don't even know how. I mean, it's like in that space. I had gotten out of a relationship that I was in for 4.5 years. So I'm not necessarily looking yet. I'm so undeniably attracted to you. And this is before I knew you, before we even had a conversation. So when you were in my inbox, I already felt like we knew each other to an extent, because we have been, like we'll say, subtly interacting with each other, mildly flirtatious yet professional, which is a whole different layer of sexy right there. It's a whole different layer of just beautiful. It's I respect you, I see you, I feel you, I value you as a human, and you just happen to be like the hottest person I've ever seen in my entire life.
Oh boy.
And that was the trip, though, is being who I am and being in the circumstances that I've found myself in a mild state of insecurity. I've always, even to this day, the first thing I say to you every day is, God, you're so beautiful. That's my first thought. So my insecurity was going to always got the better of me, sometimes still does. and goes, there's no way someone this absolutely gorgeous is into me. Not only is she just like mind-blowingly just beautiful, and that's like, there has to be some evil inside somewhere,
Oh my
right? And it has, who knows, maybe, we'll figure it out. But I don't believe it's there. I don't see it. I don't want it. I just know that every day I just fall deeper and deeper in love with you. And our love is constantly rising. I'm rising in love with you. And your external beauty, of course, is captivating. And it's just an absolute phenomenal reminder of how deeply I love you. And I've always loved you.
Mm. Oh, oh, I hope that the listeners, I hope you guys can feel my smile. Okay. Because it's really big and it's really intense and I can't not. Okay. So I'm hoping that you can feel that.
This is one of the first times that I've publicly expressed my thoughts. Well, no, it's not. I mean, I talk about you. I talk about how phenomenal you are. I just look at this and I'm like, wow, this is just falling onto my stupid face. How easy is it? That's the truth. That's the reality of things, is you ending up in my Instagram inbox. There's a whole story behind that. You got to understand that I manifested you. You became magnetic, and you are my first manifestation.
Babe, we have to talk about, and yeah, okay, we have to talk about that moment that we were on the phone call. And well, I mean, multiple moments, but okay, I'm just going to bring it to your attention so that we can talk about it together, because it was so insane. I mean, there's lots of moments, but this one in particular, when we're talking about manifesting each other. Do you remember when I was driving back home from work, we're on the call, and you said, oh my God, I've got to read my affirmations to you. And let's just explain this for a second, because I'm realizing this. So let's explain this. So part of Kohdi and I, this might be different for some other people, and that's fine. But part of our healing journey and growth journey is and was, and I think will continue to be, writing affirmations, right? And writing affirmations on what you're wanting to manifest, and writing affirmations based off the truth that is already in this present reality that you want to continue to manifest, right?
But also the type of person that the ways that you want to think, you programming your subconscious.
Yes,
so
exactly.
It's another way of becoming vibrationally aligned as a person with what you know and feel you deserve. So those affirmations are going to help you really start developing a subconscious programming that is going to be your guiding force, so you feel deserving of what you're attempting to attract.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, like you said, not only is it these I am, like structuring yourself, it's also structuring the kind of people that that you are surrounding yourself with, the life, on the outside that, you're affirming to bring into your reality. So 100%. So anyway, just explaining that for a little bit. And on this phone call, Kohdi's like, I got to read to you my affirmations. Like, I haven't read them. I've made them like a few months ago. I think this was in like 2 months into like dating or something like that.
Yeah.
And you're like, I got to read these to you. And I'm going to be reading them for the first time. So like, excuse me. I'm like, okay. Yeah.
These on August 8th, I believe. And we met on August 26th.
Oh my God, that's right. Yeah. Okay.
That was a full moon, or there was like some solar thing.
Yes.
But like, today is a perfect day of all days. You're going to want to do it on this day. It's like a vortex or something. I forget what it was.
Yeah, I can't remember. But yeah, so him and I, like I slid in his DMs August 27th. He wrote these, and by the way, 27, that number, oh, I swear it comes after me in good ways. But funny thing, right? August 27th, that's when we started talking. August 8th is when he wrote these affirmations. Now, these affirmations, now I just want you to explain this, because I just feel you're better at it, like in bringing it, because they're yours. Can we just like talk about that moment? Not only those affirmations that you were reading, that we both realized like, oh my God, like this is us right now. Like that's crazy. But then also when I got home, and then when I read my notes that I had on my wall of like my quote and everything. So we'll start with you and then we'll lead up to there.
Well, you had mentioned that I believe you had already showed me or talked about your wall of manifestations, which is just we got to understand the depth behind affirmations. It's for the density of clarity. So the more clear and the more reminded you are of what's important to you. Remember, you attract whatever it is that you think about the most. So if you're thinking about love, if you're thinking about all these things, you start to program yourself to be in alignment with those things. You start to become a person that's capable of handling that and putting yourself in a place of reception, because you could attract a million things, but if you don't recognize that it's there, then you're going to pass it up. So my affirmations after landing in Arizona, I had been here for a couple months. It's you've got to get extremely clear with what you want. You've got a whole new life. It is just you at this moment. It's Kohdi, and Kohdi, right? What do you three want? Kohdi mind, Kohdi spirit, Kohdi body. What do you guys want? What do you want with money? What do you want with spirituality? What do you want with love? What do you want with what is it? And I wrote down, it's probably like 4 pages, 4 pages. And I was speaking of these specific elements in almost like not third person, but as in first person, as in I already have these already. This is absolutely how I communicate with my finances. But the last page of this is, I saved it for last because I felt it was the most important. It was, what does love look like? What does relationship look like? And I spent so much time writing exactly what I'm looking for. We speak without speaking. We support each other without words. We add value to each other's lives through providing space. We say hello. We are interested in each other's dreams. We actively support one another on good days and bad days. The depth of our communication, or the depth of our relationship, is based on strong communication and comprehension. And I'm talking about extremely detailed, because my former relationship was the complete opposite of everything I wanted. I learned what I didn't want in that relationship. I have so much respect for it because it gave me the clarity, and the universe gave me the strength to continue stepping away from what wasn't going to serve me. That old relationship was showing me what I would have become had I stayed. This was my opportunity to manifest, to not just become someone that feels deserving of this kind of love, but putting this type of information out into the universe and reflecting on it daily, dreaming about it, waking up to these affirmations every single morning, and repeating these things every single day. Then I was sitting here and you had said something, and I was like, holy crap, hang on. And I had to go dig through all my files. And I was like, babe, I have to read this to you. Like, you have no idea. Like, I'm pretty sure you got to hear this. And I read this whole thing out. And it was literally our relationship at that point, to a T. It was every single thing that we were talking about. And not only was that the type of relationship that I was manifesting, that just happened to be the type of circumstances and attributes that you want in a relationship as well. And we're not necessarily connected. I mean, we are, but it's not necessarily the attributes of the relationship. It's the fact that we're so intricately
Yeah.
in love with the intricacies of the relationship, and seeing the depths behind each one of these things and how they relate. We see the relationship as a separate entity from one another. So there's 3 different layers of us. There's you, there is me, there is us, and then there's the relationship. Actually, that's 4. So with that said, you looked at that and went, holy bejesus, you gotta see what I've had on my wall. And this is where I pass the story off to you, my love.
Well, I mean, first of all, that was perfectly said. Good job. Yeah, it was very intense. I was actually like, I remember fighting back like emotions, because on the other hand of things, I had also just come out of, like a relationship that was very toxic and not good. And same thing, just completely the opposite of everything that you had said in your affirmations and with my affirmations. So when that happened, then I said, okay, well, this is crazy. Like, I have this wall that I went on this retreat. It was actually a virtual retreat, so I guess I didn't go on it, but it was this virtual retreat that I really like grew. I broke through so many different, obstacles, barriers, just like stackers, triggers, all these things. And I had written them in these notes that in this retreat, they said, put this on your wall or whatever. And so I did that. I was very committed. And in this, there was this quote that I quoted that is actually from the movie Into the Wild, right? And this is actually a very popular quote. I did not really know of this quote quite at this moment, I think. But I really felt it. Like, it really just came over me. But anyway, I had all these notes on my wall. It was my manifestation wall. It was everything that I was proud of myself for, my entire life. And then there was, what am I manifesting? And I put all of my manifestations there, all of my affirmations, same thing, speaking them out as if they already exist. There's this module in Words Are Human called it's like act as if. So it's already happened, right? And so you become the vibration that is then attracting the event or the people or the thing closer to you, because you are that specific vortex, right? So becoming that vortex, there's this quote that came over me and help me. Why am I forgetting it right now? Under pressure. What is the quote? Happiness is only real when shared. That's what it is. Okay. I remembered it. And I wrote this quote down and I read it every day. Like, I read it every single day. And yes, I had seen the movie Into the Wild, but I had not really registered that was from there. It really was something that I felt within. And part of me writing that quote was, and it's helpful to know the context underneath that, was part of my manifestations was share with the community, help people, get a following, but not to, quote unquote, have a following. It was to get a following of people that are rising with me, not to watch me, right? Come with me. It's not a come watch me. And so that was where that quote kind of stemmed from for me personally, which was like, let's find this joy, let's find this love all together, and let's rise together. And I loved how earlier you said, I'm rising in love, not falling in love, because I actually love that. Like, good job on that one. That was great. But I really feel that is the same with that. And also, like, let's rise into happy together. Let's rise into joy together. Right. And so that quote was written. I read that to you and I'm like, yeah, blah, 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 blah. And then I just read that quote and you're like, no way. Like, what is going on?
The quote of my life. I have a module inside Beyond Sober called Happiness is Only Real When Shared. It's an entire dedication to sharing yourself, your successes, your feelings, your attributes of life, your fears, your loves, everything, and exclaiming it to the universe. And it was so powerful when you said that, because I'm like, there's no way that you literally have on your wall a phrase that I live by every single day.
Yeah, exactly. And it really goes to show, like, when you are nervous to be yourself, when being yourself feels scary because you think, well, I'm going to lose all these people because, like, this facade is what's holding these people together and around me and making me feel kind of a fraction of the facade of the community and the connection that I'm longing for. When you break out of that and just dare to be yourself and be brave and just say, screw it. Like, I'm just going to be me. And those of you who accept me and love me will stay. And those of you who don't will leave. And that is perfectly divinely guided, because you're not supposed to be with me anyway. And there's really goes to show, when you are yourself, me in that moment, and you just, honestly, fully, authentically, just me. That's what called me to I just felt called to be myself on TikTok. That's it. I felt called to just be authentically myself. And when there's a beauty that often people don't see, it's the polarity of losing people when you start being yourself. The polarity to losing people is also the aspect of, or the side to, is you gain the community that you are already a part of, but you just don't know it yet. And so you might lose people, but you also gain the right people for you. So there's a huge difference between belonging and fitting in, right?
Yeah.
Fitting in, it's like you're structuring yourself to fit into a specific thing that you think you should based off some kind of expectation that is likely not your own, that you have over yourself.
Facts.
And then there's belonging, which is you're yourself and you belong because you fit perfectly without having to try or mold or structure.
That's attracting your tribe.
Yeah.
Your tribe could be as big or as small as you'd like it to be. You are a part of my tribe. I've been attracting you my entire life. I just didn't know it was going to begin with you. The true attraction, the centrifugal expansion of that tribe, a tribe of my own, a tribe of our own, right? And you're absolutely correct. It's that authenticity that gives people, it's literally a gift to others. Is going, I am going to be as authentically accurate with you as a reflection of my honesty of self and provide you the opportunity to choose, which is the illusion of freedom, whether or not I sit with you or not. And there's no wrong answer. If I'm for you, I'm for you. If I'm not, I'm not. No hard feelings, because your approval isn't necessary for me to be happy. That genuine, authentic presentation of self. It's the honest expression of self. Even the way that I'm moving my hands and doing these things. That's who I am. This is who you are. And that has its own energy behind it. And that's attractive. That's sexy. That's a glue. Knowing that it doesn't matter what makeup you're wearing. I don't see that. I see you all the time. It's just the depths of your being is what's shining through that smile. And we're permanently connected and permanently growing. And we've known each other for lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes. That's the beautiful part about growth, is you practicing stepping into your authentic expression helps you figure out what you like and what you don't like. So you become receptive to the things that you actually want and deserve. I deserve you, period. It took me an entire life to become someone that I feel is worthy of your time and your energy.
I mean, absolutely. I think that was one of our first things that we kind of was a breakthrough together, which was you hear people all the time, to explain this a little bit for the listeners, if you hear this, which I'm sure you have, there are people who are saying, and I've said this too, oh, I don't deserve you. You're too good to me. In another way, that's you saying that you don't deserve good things because you're not good enough for it. So you'll say, I don't deserve you. And that's supposed to mean love, when really that's in itself showing a lack of self-love, which you can't love others until you love yourself, right? So there's I'm sure it's not new, but like this was a breakthrough for you and I, Kohdi, which was, I deserve you. Like I'm worthy of this.
I swear I said it first. I'm pretty sure I was saying it because I said I love you first. I was like, girl, I feel like I have to say.
Actually, the whole I love you thing, oh man, was that ever a treat? Okay. So, okay. in my head, I want to trail to something else because I think it's really important. So I'm gonna just put a pin in that.
Yeah.
But this is really actually a cute yet a little bit anxiety filled story for me, a little. So in our first weeks of talking, and to preface this, I live in Canada, Kohdi lives in Phoenix, right? So we've been long distance essentially this whole time. Hopefully not soon, but whatever. And yeah, so we're long distance, and first few weeks of talking, we were up all night long. We were awake on FaceTime. Just like staring at each other, it's the puppy love. It's the beginning. But we were just fully, truly falling in love with each other. And there is this aspect in spirituality. And when you're kind of up in the clouds a little bit, I will say that you actually start to just love everyone, but really love everyone. Not in a necessarily a romantic way with everyone, not like that, but you really just reside in unconditional love for everyone and everything.
Right.
Because you see that like consciousness lives in everyone and everything, right? And
Mhm.
so when you're in this place, sort of up in the clouds, right?
Thank you, man.
You just begin to see this in others too. And Kohdi and I really shared this, which was just like this love, like this unconditional love. And we had extensive conversations about like just unconditional love and how we would share this with like throughout our life. So something that was sort of brewing in my heart for Kohdi, because I was legit falling in love. And I think, but it wasn't actually our, we said it pretty quickly because these conversations were so long. And I really not only felt just this like unconditional love, I really was like, I actually love you. Like, I actually love you though. And you were telling me about your life story at the time, and you were telling me what you'd been through. And there were really no words to like explain how I was feeling when he was saying all of this. Other than like, I love you. Like, I love you. But here's why I say anxiety filled moment, because in that moment, when there was a gap in the conversation for me to say something and for me to reply to his entire life story that he had just poured out of his, heart and soul, I'm like, oh my God, I literally don't know what to say right now other than I love you. But in a romantic way, that's way too soon. And I'm nervous to say it because what if that's a red flag, And I was like, oh my God, like, but I really do. Like, I just feel this love. And then I was like, well, how do you feel right now? Like I was curious as to where you were at, but I was feeling it. Like I was saying it in my head.
Yeah.
And I think I trailed off into my thing, but you said, you know what? I'm like checking myself right now because I'm like, I'm sitting here and I'm like, do I love this woman? Like, am I infatuated with her, or am I actually in love with her? Like, what is happening? And that was like such a sigh of relief for me, because I'm like, holy crap, those exact things are going through my mind. And this is important to say this, both coming out of a very narcissistic, toxic relationship for years. Oh, and then coming into another one that you actually don't expect, nor anticipate, nor even like try for, it just sort of happens. It's really an odd and I want to say scary, but it positive scary when you come into a healthy, mature, emotionally and mature relationship, or even crush, kind of conversation, where we both had that moment together where we're like, is this happening right now? Like, what is going on? So
Yeah.
yeah, you take it away.
No, that was what very well said. Yes, that was intense because I got to mention, you and I are from completely different worlds. Like our worlds would never collide.
Oh my God,
I
absolutely.
mean,
Yeah.
literally, like had it not been for TikTok, had it not been for every single thing in our life unfolding exactly the way it did, if we didn't put in the amount of work, if we didn't learn the things that we learned, if we didn't go through the pain and all these things, our paths would never, first off, cross. Second off, we would never connect in the ways that we truly wanted to. Like we would just be like, oh, cool, TikTok, whatever. Find excuses why it's nothing, opposed to finding reasons why it's something. And yeah, that was such a powerful moment, because I was sitting there going like, there's no way, because on my you can't see how I feel. So I'm sitting there going, holy crap, there's little friddly bits in my belly button. What is happening? Right? My heart's going banana sandwiches. And and then I'm just like, I think there's no other way to describe this. Like, I can't. The trivia part about the way that I initially started feeling for you, and now that we say this, I was feeling with you, and that's just an expression of our connection. And when I was feeling with you, it was deeper than anything that I've ever felt before, but not in a typical way of going like, it's like it was, I've never experienced it before. No, I mean, like, it was so blatantly obvious. It was hard to debate that it wasn't exactly what you believed it to be, because it was so true, so real, so pure, so honest, and so simple. It was like, how could it not be true? And the only reason why it took a second is because you and I are healthy people doing healthy things. And a healthy response to an emotion like that, which is just a whole bunch of chemicals flooding through your brain, is to give yourself a second and go, hold up. I've been in a similar situation before. The last time I did this, practice vulnerability, opened myself up, shared myself with another human being, I was taken for a ride, which pulled me further away from who I was. So out of respect for my entire existence and the purity of my being, let me debate this wholeheartedly, but not too analytically where I talk myself out of something that is probably good for me.
Yes.
So right, that was that moment. And it all happened so fast too, because you're sitting here going, and that's why I brought that up. Am I just infatuated with is this just an infatuation? Because I infatuate hard. Like,
Yeah.
I've infatuated my whole life from an unhealthy standpoint, which is a whole new experience as a healthy person. As a ex-alcoholic, narcissistic in practice 5 years ago, a majority of my life, raised by toxic men, that infatuation would normally have a predetermined goal to get you to do this, to receive something, or find myself in a more applicable situation that was beneficial to me. And so I would crush hard and use that infatuation to love bomb people. So from that standpoint, I'm having this whole just internal response going, I've never fallen in love as a happy, healthy person that loves themselves. I've only felt this feeling from a very toxic person that needed to feel loved by someone because I was incapable of loving myself. I didn't know what that was. I thought that drinking alcohol and partying and doing all these things and living my life to the fullest was enjoying life, when in all actuality, I was punishing myself literally to death. I had to lose all of that. I had to literally shift into someone that was capable of recognizing an emotion, which is why we practice feeling. Give ourselves permission to feel. Allow these emotions in, right? And I know you get upset with me sometimes, rightfully so, because I'm like, oh, it's the 3-minute hormone thing, and after that, it's whatever. But the truth is like the more time you spend in an emotion, the more you start to understand the process and the flow, the more control you have over it, and the more solid you are when making a decision based on how you felt, not how deeply you're feeling at the moment. It makes sense because it's a reflection of how you want to feel, not how you think you need to feel. You don't say I love you because that's an appropriate time to say that. You know that. There's no debating it. There's no, should we just be together? No, it's like we've been together. What are you talking about? Like, why would we not be together? But it's a mutual exchange of energy, which is why it's been so deep and so important and so powerful for us, is because we respect the connection and the conversation between souls just as deeply as we respect the comprehension between words, which full circles us back to words are human.
Yes. Yeah. So many things. You've nailed it with everything you just said. That was well done. Once again, round of applause.
Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, here's the thing, okay? In that moment when you did that, I have to say this before we move on. I have to say this. When you say, because I also have to explain for the listeners, when you say we're from two different worlds, we just need to explain that a little bit. Just for a little bit of background, like, let's talk about these people couldn't be any more different, and these people couldn't have the lives that you and I had growing up could not be more different. Okay. So much to the point that I actually found myself spending time feeling like upset and getting distracted by the feelings of being upset with the fact that I couldn't relate to you. Like, I couldn't relate to you. I couldn't relate to your community. Kohdi and I had a conversation about, it was like 2-3 months in. And, he was at the time going live on TikTok every day. And I'm there and I'm supporting him, you know, in the comments, and I'm doing my thing. And I was really starting to feel, you know, because I'm involved with you, that your community was looking up to me too. And I was really feeling like, no, 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 no. I have no idea what it's like to struggle with alcohol, to struggle with like, you know, drugs or stuff. Like, I have no idea, so much to the point that like, please don't look up to me. Like, and Kohdi would say, you're a coach, you know, like, you know how to, you know, help people and transform into like this healing journey. Like, of course you're a coach. I'm like, yes, I am. But like, I don't know anything about what it's like to struggle. I mean, I do, but not in the way that Kohdi has. It's a completely different level. That I just don't know what it's like. Like, I've got my own stuff, everybody does, but not in the realm of you and your community. So I did not know how to, I just felt like I did not belong, which of course I don't really. But at the beginning of that, like, I like just two different lives, right? Like, you just hard, you know, like you said, raised with toxic men, just like
Drugs,
practicing narcissistic,
alcohol, like the
exactly.
whole, yeah, total opposite.
Did
Like,
not know what it felt like, did not know what it looked like, what love looked like just had not, you know, you were homeless for a year, right? Like, I can't even like think about that in my mind, what that would be like. I mean, then there's me, like, and I'm not putting myself above, I'm just, you know, the differences between our lives. Like, then there's me. I mean, yes, I had, you know, this lung disease when I was a kid, and obviously there was that I worked through like academically and physically. But really, like, I went to a good school, like I became a professional figure skater, like athlete, had a beautiful family, like a gorgeous, like my parents I just looked up to. I absolutely love my parents. They, I mean, of course they made their mistakes like anybody, but really, like, I didn't struggle, like, other than school academics, like that's really where I struggled. And of course being bullied in a certain extent, but not really, like, you know, I didn't struggle with the pits of like not even knowing what love looks like.
right.
And we would have never met. You're right. We would have never crossed paths. We just wouldn't have. And I think it's so beautiful. And I think that part of, at least my confusion, I won't speak for you, but in the beginning I was a little confused because it was like, how are we, is this right? Like, we are two totally different people. Like, is this even right? Are we supposed to feel these feelings right now? Because I don't relate to you and you don't relate to me. How is this supposed to work? Are you mad that I can't relate to you? Am I mad that you can't relate? Like, you know, there's all these like, and then not to mention, one of the things that I think is important to talk about, and we might not have time today, so of course we're going to have other episodes together too. But coming out of a narcissistic relationship and how to navigate triggers once you're in a healthy relationship, and how we've done that together. And of course it's a practice and it'll continue to be. But you know, just like sort of the fork in the road being the two separate lives, and then we come together on this path, and then how we've navigated our lives within the relationship is like a whole module in my program. Beautiful contrast, because it's just like, I think consciously beautiful, you know.
100%. And the trippy part about that is when you look at how things have aligned in my life, and I'm just packed with gratitude. All the pain and anguish and all that stuff, we can get into the dirty deeds later on. Those that recognize my voice know my story. You know, liver failure survivor, all the fun stuff, ex-alcoholic, all that jazz. The trip with that is my entire life has been, you need to figure this out 100% on your own. Struggle. You're designed to struggle. No matter how good you do, you're going to struggle. So when I lost everything, including my health, I had to figure out how to get on my 2 feet from less than nothing, which put me in this place to start taking programs, start self-help, start personal growth, start getting into spirituality, start redesigning a life from less than nothing. No money, nothing, right? No car, nothing. And putting in all those steps gave me the tools. So when you and I had met, you're like, I'm a coach. I was like, I know you are. we should totally put a program together. And you're like, I'm like, that's what I do for a living. My entire existence is building master platforms for successful people or people that are striving towards success. Master platforms, highly sophisticated automation systems, graphic design, video design, YouTube, social media, all this stuff. All of the tools that I use to build my life are now the easy peasy things that I get to share with those that I want to surround myself with. So when you said, I want to change the world and look at my wall, this has happiness is only real when shared, and it's build a community, it's do this, it's build a program, it's start a podcast, it's doing all these things. And as we're talking about this, I'm starting to realize that I am that person. I am capable of doing what I've done for myself and sharing the depth of my understanding of not just personal growth, but the tech world as well, to help you literally change the world from the inside out. So magical. But it took that polarity of life for all of those things to happen. You had to be, we'll say this, your life had to unfold in a more pleasant way for you to not have the technical skills that I needed to develop to survive. If I didn't develop those things, I wouldn't have numerous businesses, clothing lines, and the programs and all of that stuff. And we look at this, although we don't relate in trauma, we do relate universally. The depths, the one thing that we are, regardless of our life circumstances, is human. We are life having a human experience from completely unique perspectives. We are equally important to the world as we are to each other. And this is how our forces align. And I remember you said, you're like, you know what? Because I say this, and I say, happy people do happy things. That is when you realize that the people that I work with and share my life with, my time with, my energy with, and build programs for are simply trying to get to where you are, which is a catalyst. You are a catalyst to astronomical success for others, for happiness. You are so important to the community that I've been privileged to share my time with, that I'm so just like deeply enthralled with and just in love with. I love this community. There's so much power, so much passion, so much strength. And it's that strength that they get to literally inject into what you've created. You're helping people build a life they love to live with a dash of spirituality inside, which is absolutely phenomenal. And Words Are Human is by far, as I know, I've been on the inside of it for months now, one of the most powerful programs that I've been privileged to help design.
Oh my goodness. Babe, oh, thanks. I feel speechless. I'm just sitting back and honestly just enjoying everything you're saying while simultaneously having flashbacks to our first times on TikTok live together. We've been through a lot from a distance together, and I'm just so excited to like finally come together. And okay, so for those of you who don't know, we are hoping to, maybe not hoping, but we are manifesting, right? Should be hearing something soon about Kohdi actually moving to Canada and being here with me, so that the distance thing is, you know, sort of a blast from the past, hopefully coming soon, right?
Hey, 9 months is in a couple days. We've known each other for 9 months. We've been together. We've been committed. That's the coolest part. That's one of the most powerful things, is that we were in a relationship. We were committed to each other before we obviously claimed or exclaimed that we are committed. Like, I shut my brain off. I shut my curiosity off, my interest off. I was just like, this, I don't care. Nope, not interested. This is who, regardless of my attraction to whatever may or may not be out there, my intellectual stimuli has always gravitated towards you. And it's just captivated so much of my attention. I don't even want to make time for anyone else or anything else.
No. Okay, I have to say this because this is the thing that I put a pin in earlier and I'm just now remembering it. So maybe we'll finish with this.
Yes.
And it's a question for you because I'm really curious about this.
Yeah.
How have you come to understand utilizing and I guess differentiating and working with the feminine and masculine energies in our relationship?
That's a great question. And first, I got to preface my answer with that by thanking you for reminding me and showing me what true masculinity actually is. And it's a massive, like, deep wound for me because, as I mentioned, I was raised around toxic masculinity. So my only understanding of masculine, muscles, strong, beards, grungy, filthy, womanizing, manipulative, narcissistic, like that was just typical behavior. That was every male. And I was the complete opposite of that. I operate in my feminine all the time. That's who I am. I prefer the feminine energy, not necessarily out of choice. In retrospect, I would always choose, the feminine to create, to explore, to expand, to feel, to grow, to see, to understand, to remain curious. These things is who I've always been, even as a kid. Animals and kids flock to me. My family has always been like, Kohdi, you're going to be the best parent on the planet. And I know I am, right? I love this. And so much of my contrast and introduction to masculinity has been through you, and you being able to show me that it is stepping out of the typical socially constructed strengths and creating space for you and us and our relationship, and being considerate and showing love and actively comprehending and focusing on what means anything to you, and making that a part of my interest and my joys of being able to serve from a healthy place. One of my favorite attributes of being masculine is helping you be more in your feminine, which is asking you how you're doing. What can I do to support you? The things that I would do if I was there, making sure that I listen and do my best to comprehend. And most importantly, when you are sharing something that is triggering to you through no fault of your own, I still deal with triggers, you deal with triggers, but being masculine to me now is me recognizing that acting as the feminine that I've always been is who I am. I am a masculine man, and it has nothing to do with my muscles. It has nothing to do with how many backflips I can do. It doesn't matter how many people I could push down the stairs or lift up the waterfall. None of that has anything to do with masculine. And one of the most beautiful things is the way you compliment me helps me feel that I've just been completely disassociated with how strong I am. And my masculinity was based on the amount of things that I could struggle through and not die, which is completely different from the masculine attributes of taking care of yourself so I don't have to worry about you. Considering you first. Self-love is sexy. Self-love is masculine. Self-love is just going to reflect into what I consider feminine, or what is actually the feminine. It's a huge transition from feeling weak, from feeling girly as growing around toxic men, feeling broken or feeling over emotional. Feeling your feelings was unacceptable because that is the opposite of what masculine was. Boys don't cry, all that typical stuff. Maybe we'll beat the masculine into you. When in all actuality, it just made me feel more vulnerable, which is the opposite of masculine, to whom I don't know. But the truth is being with you and sharing my space and my time, my energy and my love to the depths that I'm capable of, I'm also received as masculine. And I thank you so, so much for pointing that out, because that has been an incredibly powerful tool and recognition in my everyday life, and how I continue to show up for others, knowing that me being exactly who I am is as masculine as it gets, minus a hammer.
Yeah. Yes. And from my perspective, I remember telling, having this conversation with you of like, yeah, having the conversation with you of like your definition with masculine, because you were telling me one day about someone that was crossing the street, and the way you were using the word masculine was very, very negative. And that's when we kind of like together pulled this apart and sort of worked through it. And I'm really, really proud of you. You've come such a long way. And like, I hope, I'm sort of like working on my, differentiating between like feminine and masculine, and getting better at like transitioning smoothly between like the two energies.
Yeah.
However, okay, so from my perspective, I don't mean however, I mean like, and from my perspective, with you being so emotionally intelligent and mature, because you are a feeling person, because everybody is a feeling person, but you give yourself permission to be a feeling person, you also become very resilient and emotionally mature. So becoming emotionally mature and being emotionally mature, or I want to say being with a person who is emotionally mature, you also recognize not only when it's time to really sit and give yourself the respect to go through your own emotions, you also recognize in me and in others when it's time to sit, listen, respect that they are going through and I'm speaking for like, that I'm going through my emotional, whatever, let's say trigger, and you have the emotional awareness to sit and give that same respect that you give to yourself through giving yourself permission, right? Giving yourself the respect, but then also giving me the respect, so that I feel from your energy safe emotionally. And this is something that, oh my gosh, I talked about this the other day. Toxic masculinity often thinks about, I've got to physically provide, physical provide, right? She's got to have the house, blah, 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 like whatever, provide. One of the probably most major thing in toxic masculinity that they are missing is, are they emotionally providing? And emotionally providing is the definition in my mind, and how I believe it to be, is, do you feel are they providing you the space, the safe space emotionally for you to be able to unpack what you're going through and what you're feeling, for not only them to see and understand you, but for you to unpack for yourself, for you to learn from yourself? And are they able to provide a safe space for you to where you can learn from your own emotions and feel safe in the same space as that individual? And that would be emotionally providing. And you do that to me, like you do that for me. And in that space, as a woman, and as somebody who's like, for, a little bit of context, one of the things I'm working on is being able to be more in my feminine. I'm in my masculine all the time. I'm always like, doing things, I'm getting things done, problem solving, let's go. Like, let's get Joey ready. Let's get him to daycare. Let's come back. Let's build a business. I'm in my masculine frequently. Yeah. And so being in my feminine is something that I want, and I really desire, and I'm working on in our relationship. And at the same time, Kohdi makes it easy because he's so aware and so self-aware of emotions, which makes him aware of when I, want or need that space. And so when I'm given that space, safe space, and when he's emotionally providing for me, I feel taken care of as a feminine woman, which makes me look at him as a masculine man, which also makes him very, 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 very attractive because, oh my God, he's hot. Like I can talk about how I feel and he can respect it. He can like add to it. He can make me feel safe. Like women Okay, I shouldn't say that. I don't want to speak for all women, but I'm going to speak for myself. I don't care about feeling physically safe. I mean, of course, that's nice. I mostly care about feeling emotionally safe and emotionally taken care of. And am I okay? Am I safe here? Can I bring my full self to the table here? Or do I have to structure myself in a certain way in order to then represent myself as someone that I think you would prefer to see over the actual me of who I am? So am I able to actually bring my full self to the table? And if I am, then that is, excuse my language, fucking hot. Okay. If I could just
Remind
be
you of
me, are you kidding?
that
Like,
was
and as a
that was-
performer, like I've performed my whole life. So being able to take off the layers and strip the layers of being a performer and just be able to, oh my God, just be me. How liberating. Talk about wanting freedom. You have it by being with somebody who is emotionally safe to be with. Like that's who you want to look for. Don't take Kohdi. I mean, he's mine, but there are others out there.
anything less than you is just unacceptable.
Oh.
There's no performance. I see you, I understand you, I feel you, and I want to care for you. Your emotional needs are equally as important to me as they are to you. And mine are just as much. That's the whole point. That's the whole beauty in actively nurturing a connection.
Ooh, nurturing a connection. That's really good because that also shows and says just in that it's not just like, oh, I found my person. Okay, great. I'm going to direct my attention like 100% elsewhere now because that part of my life is set. It's like nurturing the connection means to continue to feed it because it's never just done. It's never just like, oh, that's figured out now. No. We are
Yeah.
still living, breathing. We're still actively changing.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, oh, I could just keep going forever.
We could do it. Yeah. We'll do it again.
We will. We've got actually lots more. We're going to create a podcast together, aren't we?
Yes. We haven't named it yet. I have no idea.
No, I don't know what it is yet either. We'll figure that out when you get here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Duels.
Okay. Well, hey, do you have anything else you want to add or is that pretty much it for today?
I'm so psychotically, madly, just unequivocally in love with who and what you are. And the craziest part about that is when you are, because we've known each other for lifetimes. And the second that I got you in front of me, I said, I swear we've met before. I know you. Where have I known you from? And the reality is, the way I felt when I first had you in front of me and I was able to study you is when I was at the peak of my highest height of happiness. So sitting with you was the proof that you are exactly who I want you to be, which is the love of my life.
Aww. And that's amazing because I was also, and I don't say was like I'm not now, but at that time is true. Like I was very much at the peak of my happiness too, and like bringing my full self to the table. So it's like, I didn't structure myself to be anybody different. So if that's the person you fell in love with, then hello, I'm still here. And I'm always going to be me because you're never going to get anything else.
Make it easy to love me.
Oh, okay. Well, this is gushingly cute. We better stop. Okay, well, hey, thank you so much for coming on. Yes, we've got lots more to come. And thank you to the listeners as well. I so appreciate you. Hey, if you're interested in Words Are Human, check it out. www.wordsarehuman.com. Also link my bio on TikTok if you follow me there. Thank you so much. And I will chat with you guys next week. Okay, bye-bye.